The more successful you get, the more lonely you're going to be.
Have you ever achieved something and not felt that happy about it?
If you're a high achiever, I'm so glad you clicked on this video.
The whole problem with high achievers and a lack of happiness, there's a whole literature on that. And that's really, really interesting. They become success addicted.
Do you ever feel like the higher you climb up the ladder of career success, it's almost like you feel like you're falling down the ladder of life happiness and fulfillment?
As a high achiever, there's this really depressing part of trying to create a better life for yourself, where no matter what you achieve, it still doesn't feel good enough.
Like, have you ever worked towards something that you thought would really bring you a lot of joy and contentment, and then when you achieved it, you didn't really feel much?
I cannot be a slave to the corporate machine.
So I'm no longer dedicating my life to increasing shareholder value.
The burnout, the stress, the wrinkles, the true Sunday scaries.
I'm so sick and tired of missing events and holidays and dinners, all of the above because I'm working.
As a high achiever myself, I feel like we all know we need to rest more. Have the weekend off, take a break, cut yourself some slack. We all know that rest is important, but for some reason for us, rest feels like falling behind. Slowing down feels like you're risking everything you've worked for. You need to keep grinding, otherwise all of this will just fall apart. If this is you, you're not alone. In this video, I want to unpack what the research says about how we even got here in the first place, and ultimately how to put a stop to the toxic fuel that's driving us, and how to use a much better fuel instead. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I'm your host, Christina, and I help people stop shrinking and start living. If you told 16-year-old Christina where she would be today, she'd be a fully qualified doctor. She'd be a YouTuber with over 170,000 subscribers now. You told her that she'd have amazing friends who love her and support her. You told her that she'd have confidence to do public speaking, put herself out there. You told her that she wouldn't be afraid to go up to new people, meet new people, go on dates. She would not believe the life that she'd built. She would actually be completely in shock. And I think this is one of the hard parts about achieving goals, climbing the corporate ladder, becoming more successful, achieving a dream is it feels amazing for a couple hours, couple days, maybe if you're lucky a couple weeks, it feels amazing. And then you just kind of feel meh, that was okay. I guess it was all right. And the thing about being a high achiever is you're so well read. I already know for a fact you've probably read, what's that book called? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You've probably already read Atomic Habits. You've read Think and Grow Rich. You've read all the books. You know what you need to do. You already know with this weird, external appearance that seems successful, but internal world where you don't feel very accomplished, you still feel behind. You know this huge gap is because you need to detach your self-worth from your work. As a high achiever, sometimes you have a double-edged sword where you know what you need to do, but knowing isn't the answer, trusting is. And I find with a lot of us that have this really huge gap between our external success and achievement and how we feel on the inside, I've come to learn a lot of us don't understand the language of faith, but we're fluent in the language of fear. We get motivated and we start acting, we start working when we're afraid of falling behind, or we're afraid of being average, we're afraid of being forgotten, we're afraid of not being impressive. We will kick into gear and work. But then when you tell us oh, just believe in yourself. Oh, just, it will work out. Trust. We just don't believe that. We don't listen to that. We're fluent in the language of fear, and we do not know how to speak the language of faith. And I know you might be like, Christine, I don't really relate to that. I'm really spiritual. I'm religious. No, I am faithful. Well, here are a couple of examples. Say it comes to friendships, relationships. You're meeting someone new. Maybe it's romantic. Maybe it's platonic. When things are going well, are you the sort of person that can comfortably open up because they'll love me for me? Or are you more no, let me not show that part of myself, because if I open up, they're going to leave? Are you acting more out of fear, hiding yourself because they're going to leave? Or do you trust and have faith, actually, if I open up, they'll love me for me? Say it comes to money. Maybe you're thinking of going back to school, or you're thinking of learning a new skill. You want to maybe buy a book, buy a course, buy something to help you learn a skill and level up your own life. Are you the sort of person that's no, I'll just learn it for free on YouTube? No, I need to preserve everything that I've got. If I spend the money, it will run out. Or are you more trusting okay, if I spend this, it will come back. I'm investing in myself. the money will come back to me in some way. Because what I've come to learn from this new book that I've started reading, it's such a good book, it's so well researched, it's called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Brendan. A lot of high achieving people, or even like successful people that you see, weirdly have this pseudo self-esteem. On the surface, they might appear like really strong and really confident, really accomplished, but they weirdly never feel worthy enough to be happy. And when I read that, I literally had to put the book down. I had to put my Kindle down and be like, oh my gosh, like I actually kind of relate to that. Like I feel very confident. I feel very accomplished. I know what I'm doing at work and on YouTube. But when I read that line about like feeling worthy to be happy, I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I rarely actually give myself full 100% permission to like be happy, Christina. Like, forget all the work you have to do. Forget that you're only on step 20 of 100 and you've got a long way to go. Like, allow yourself to be happy. A lot of high achievers can't do this. As I was reading more and more about like this pseudo self-esteem theory, it kind of got me thinking, I feel like a better way to visualize it is kind of like, it's like a hollow trophy. It's like you've got this trophy cabinet of all these different trophies that you've achieved, and people come and look, and they look through the see-through cabinet. They see pictures of you holding this trophy. It looks really impressive, but actually when you're holding it, it feels so lightweight. Or all the trophies in the cabinet are literally made of like foam or plastic. Like, it looks good, but it doesn't feel good. Like, you feel hollow somehow. In the book, he talks about people that on the outside seem really confident and charismatic and accomplished. You can tell that they have pseudo self-esteem because they're maybe quite controlling, or they're very self-protective. They're the sort of people that won't really strive for really big goals because they know, well, if I don't try, I won't fail. They want to kind of protect themselves in that way. They're very fragile in the sense that they don't really want to be disliked. They'll kind of put on a front of approval, maybe even just say what people want them to say, act how people want them to act. They always want to appear like they're doing the right thing. Like, validation is really important to them so that they're never disliked. And he says that a big differentiator between this pseudo self-esteem and actual high self-esteem is people with high self-esteem often act in authenticity. They really do show their true selves. They know that people might not like them for who they are, but they're okay with the fact that they're going to have lovers and they're going to have haters as well. People with high self-esteem tend to want to go towards things. They act out of excitement and drive and like passion to go somewhere, whereas people with low self-esteem often act out of fear. Like, oh, I'm afraid of being behind, or I'm afraid of being seen this way, I'm afraid of being rejected. So they often act out of fear rather than actual reality. And I don't know if this is resonating with anyone, but when I was reading about this and learning about it, I feel like I relate to the slowing down part. Like, I am that person sometimes. I actually am afraid to set big goals because I'm like, oh, but what if I fail? Or what if I like let myself down? What if I don't achieve it? I'm often the person where if someone says dream big, I'll dream medium. Like, I'll dream small, medium. Like, I don't want to let myself down. Like, I know, you know, if I don't get my hopes up, I won't be let down. And when I read this, I was like, bro, is that a sign of like low self-esteem, low-key? And it probably is. And I've spoken about this before, but I feel like those of us that are super, super driven, like we've got the vision boards, we've got a list of goals, we've got a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. Like, when you're so motivated and you like terrified of slowing down, part of me feels like we're just trying to distance ourselves from the part of ourselves that we're ashamed of. It's sad to say like I'm ashamed of 16-year-old me, because I'm not ashamed, but it's definitely like, when I was her, I was like embarrassed, or I did feel left out. I did feel a bit of shame around how like I wasn't like everyone else. I wasn't cool. Like, there was definitely shame when I was her. And I look back on her and I'm so proud of her for how hard she worked and what she's essentially built the foundation for where I am now. So I'm not ashamed of her, but I feel like so many of us that have this like insane drive to work hard, we're kind of trying to outrun the shame that we have about ourselves. It's why low-key sometimes it's almost as if we don't even love winning. We're just afraid of stopping. Like, if you stop and slow down, it's almost like you might be pulled back to that version of yourself. Like, the more you slow down, the more you take things slowly, it's like you'll become average again, you'll become mediocre again, you'll become forgotten again. And to some people that might make no sense. I feel like this is like a specific group of people that will get what I'm saying, but you're just terrified of slowing down. You know that you're definitely trying to outrun a part of yourself that you're ashamed of when you only put yourself in situations where you'll kind of get positive affirmation. You would just kind of avoid criticism. You'll never put yourself in a position where you'll get something wrong. It's why you don't put your hand up, or it's why you don't volunteer yourself for something at work. Like, you don't want to expose yourself to any criticism. And he says this in the book, which I want to read out. If I lack respect for and enjoyment for who I am, I have very little to give except my unfulfilled needs. In my emotional impoverishment, I tend to see other people essentially essentially as sources of approval or disapproval. I don't appreciate them for who they are in their own right. I see only what they can and cannot do for me. I'm not looking for people who I admire and with whom I can share enjoyment and excitement for life. I'm looking for people who will not condemn me and perhaps will be impressed by my persona, the face I present to the world. My ability to love remains undeveloped. This is one of the reasons my attempts at relationships so often fail, not because the vision of love is intrinsically irrational, but the self-esteem needed to support it is absent. That was right at the start of the book where he was talking about love and relationships and how essentially when you have these unfulfilled needs, you kind of only go looking for people to either approve of you or there's other people that will disapprove of you. You only want people that will be impressed by your persona, people that will like you, and anyone that disapproves of you, like they're not your people, I guess. You'll avoid them. And I was like, I've seen that happen in so many different situations, but I never was able to put words to it. And on the topic of relationship, actually, because I know I've been talking about work this whole time, but I guess it happens to relationships as well, like you were saying in the book. I find sometimes in friendships and relationships, you can see this happen through like your avoidance behaviors, like the things that you avoid doing. Like say you have just a bit of a clash with a friend, maybe miscommunication, you won't really bring it up because you want to avoid having like that tough conversation. You want to avoid being maybe them arguing with you or them saying like, you did this. Do you know what I mean? You just want to avoid. So you just avoid. And it was just another reminder of how much fear really does motivate us. Like in some sense, you can make yourself super busy working on things, or you can make yourself super overwhelmed with friends, how you're avoiding this person, you don't want to say this to that person, you remember to never bring up this. Like you can make yourself super overwhelmed with all the things that you have to do and don't do. But ultimately, fear will always run faster than you. It's why I think so many of us end up burnt out, because the reason why we're working so much isn't because we're excited. Like we're not excited to stay behind at work for 3 hours, or we're not excited to redo a whole project that took us 2 weeks in a weekend just so we can meet the deadline by Monday. We're not excited to do that. We're afraid and we feel like we have to do that. Fear will always run faster than us, which is why it's never really sustainable. Part of me was even asking myself, did I go to med school out of fear? Like, the more you ask yourself these questions, am I acting out of fear or faith? That's kind of why I see working out of fear or trying to outrun your shame is kind of like a poisonous fuel. I know Dr. K talks about this as toxic fuel, and honestly I love his content and very much along the same vein. But kind of the way I see it is, even though you might have some amazing achievements under your belt, you've done some super impressive things, your family and friends are so proud of you, even though you know that, like, how good do you feel about yourself? Say on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, how proud of yourself are you? Knowing that you've done some pretty amazing things, your parents are so proud of you, like everyone's so proud of you. Like, when was the last time you genuinely felt like you were on top of a mountain? Like, when was that last? And the reason I say that is because I feel like that's a classic example of how your input determined your output. Because if you said, yeah, I feel like all right, you know, I guess I'm okay, like, I'm not mega proud, but like maybe you said 7 out of 10, like, you know, it's good, but it's not an 8, it's not a 9, it's not a 10. I feel like when you put in fear, you get out fear. Like, you know, you grinded to get the masters, but then you're afraid of, will I get a job? Will I ever be able to get to that high level job? Or you put in grinding on your side hustle, and then you get out the worry if you'll get clients, if you'll be able to sustain it, if you'll ever grow it to the level you want. Like, I feel like when you put in worry, you get out more worry. This gap as well, I feel like is heightened because, you know, we know so much about ourselves. We spend every second of every day with ourselves. The person we know best in life, low-key ourselves. Yet when we look at other people and we go to work, we go home, we meet friends, family, we only ever know like a portion of them. We're not in their minds. We only know what they say to us. We don't know their true thoughts. I feel like this gap between knowing ourselves so well and knowing the surface of other people is space for comparison to tell you that you're not doing a good job. Because you see on the surface, okay, well, Becky seems like she's slaying life. She's got the BMW in a brand new house in a lovely little suburban area. Like, she must be living life. But actually, you don't know how Becky truly feels. You only know like 10% of Becky. Where you know so much about yourself, you know all the highs, all the ups and downs, like all the lows, everything. Comparison is tough as well, because I feel like people will tell you lots of things and it logically makes sense. Thief of joy, like, you know this logically, but it doesn't truly help. I actually made a whole entire video on comparison. I'm gonna link it here. I'm in a space where I genuinely don't compare myself. I'm not just saying that, like, genuinely hand on heart. When I compare myself to someone, I don't feel bad, and it's because I know to the core, I know as a stone cold fact, just because you have more success than me does not make you happier than me. And even if you did have success and you are happier than me, I'm genuinely happy for you. I don't really see people as a competition anymore. I feel like comparison is only a tough topic and like only a huge struggle if you're still in a place where you low-key see like people as competition, or I guess you have a scarcity mindset. This is something I'm thinking of making a video on as well, because I've not made a video on scarcity versus abundance, but let me know what you think in the comments. Like, would that be something you want to watch a video on? If I see someone winning and she's happy and she's slaying and she's, you know, ticking all the boxes, genuinely I see it as like, okay, I can do it too. Like, there is space for both of us. Thank you for proving to me what's possible. Thank you for showing me and like doing all the steps. This is what's possible. It's one of the reasons why I made this workbook, the value gap workbook, because I feel like when you look at yourself and say you did rate yourself like a 7 out of 10, but there's still people you compare yourself to who are like a 10 out of 10. Like, they seem to be doing amazing, all the money, everything, and they're just so happy and so gorgeous, and the relationship, like they're ticking all the boxes. This gap between you and them, between the 7 and the 10, is probably going to cause you like a lot of like self-doubt, or I'm not good enough, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And this whole workbook is pretty much everything I've learned about how to close this gap on comparison. I know a couple of you guys have already downloaded it. Let me know in the comments what you thought and whether you found it helpful or not, but highly recommend downloading it. It's completely for free in the link in the description box below. It's called the Value Gap Workbook, and it essentially helps you overcome comparison, close the value gap between you and where everyone else is, and helps you just have more faith in yourself and not feel like everything is a competition. Unmet needs. Let's talk about this. And I'm running out of time. I actually do need to leave for my friend's birthday in 15 minutes. So we're going to have to wrap this up, but I might make a whole entire video on unmet needs, I think. Essentially, there are a few different types of unmet needs, but I feel like a common one that we will experience as high achievers are things like validation. I need to know that I'm good enough. I need to know that I'm important. I need to know that I'm valued. And then also unmet love. So maybe if growing up your parents were present, not present, not really there for you, or were there for you, but you didn't really feel the emotional support. Food on the table, roof over your head, someone to pick you up from school, but you didn't feel loved in a way. You might have this unmet need of, I just want to be loved for who I am. I just want to be appreciated. I just want to be admired. I just want to be adored. When we have these unmet needs and we don't know about them, like they're literally in a blind spot, we don't know that they exist, we will be searching in work, careers, a corporate ladder, a master's degree to try and fulfill this need. And it just never really clicks because the unmet need always goes unmet. And the way I see it now, because we all know about manifestation at this point, like we've all read the books, we've all watched the podcasts, like we all know that you change your life by changing your beliefs, because your beliefs influence your actions, and that influences your behaviors, and then that influences your life. But a lot of us don't, like, we don't fully click. And it honestly took me reading this book like last week to realize and click that a lot of my beliefs were actually kickstarted by fear. Like, they start from a place of fear. You're going to fall behind, Christina. You need to stay ahead. You need to keep up. Like, you need to keep grinding harder. You need to do this. You need to do that. It's all fear and worry. And when I was reading about the unmet needs, like a lot of mine fall into the validation camp. So that's why I'm thinking, do I make a full entire video on this as well? I'm going to be busy. I've got a lot of videos to make, but essentially the way you completely change the fuel for your success, the way you stop using a toxic fuel and a poisonous fuel and start using a better fuel, a healthy fuel, is you fulfill your unmet needs. With things like validation, I need to know that I'm enough. I need to know that I'm important. You have to start telling that to yourself and proving it to yourself as well. Because I know you can do all the affirmations, you can talk to yourself in the mirror and, you know, hope none of your flatmates can hear you as you tell yourself in the mirror, or you can like write things out in your journal every morning. That is good and it does help, but you also, that's just saying it, but there's also proving it. If you tell yourself, I am worthy, I am deserving, I am important, you need to prove it to yourself in the sense that, you know, you're so important that you do actually treat yourself to something nice, or you're so deserving that you do give yourself an evening off. You have to prove it to yourself in the actions, because saying it is just one half of the coin. Another thing that I find is super important as well is not seeing yourself as almost finished. I feel like there's this almost done trap that we fall into. Like, oh yeah, you know, I'm doing great. I'm, you know, in life, in happiness and satisfaction, I'm like a 7 out of 10. I'm almost done. I just need one more thing. Next thing you know, you achieve the thing. Oh yeah, that was amazing. I've now got the PhD now, but you know, I'm almost done. I need one more thing. Oh, well, I've set up my business now. My business is thriving. I'm making so much money, but I just need one more thing. It's just like, and then next thing you know, you're 47 and a half, you've got 2 kids and a house, and you still feel like you're almost done. Like, this mindset is good for collecting achievements, but it's not good for improving your happiness. Like, if the objective in life is to collect all these amazing awards and accolades like they're Pokemon, but not actually feel good about yourself, that is the way to do it. But I'm of the belief now, like, I genuinely want to feel good about myself and be happy. Oh no, I want to achieve things and be happy. Okay, last couple of things because I need to get going. But another thing I feel like we do when we are super driven hustle mode people is you end up in a place where you actually start worshipping your fruits rather than your roots. I know that sounds really weird and very like ChatGPT. Like, when I wrote it down, I was like, this sounds like an AI wrote it, but genuinely I wrote it myself. I feel like, imagine you were a tree, right? You get watered, people plant seeds, you plant seeds, like seeds just, you know, are going, and then you've got this amazing tree now. You start pumping out some red apples. You get to a place where you're obsessed with these apples. People love the apples. They collect the apples. People think that you're super impressive because of your apples. You just start focusing on the apples and you kind of neglect the roots. Do you know what I mean? Because you get attention, praise and support because of these apples, it's all you put your attention on. And actually, I feel like you get to a certain point where you actually have to start focusing on your roots more, because that is ultimately what got you the apples. And again, it's this huge battle with yourself. I don't want to fall behind. I need to stay ahead. Like, I don't want to have an evening off. Like, you don't want to waste time looking after yourself because, you know, well, let me just pump out more apples. But actually, again, you're falling into the trap. You're using fear to drive you, and you can never outrun fear. Fear will always run faster than you. Actually, if you just have faith, I'm going to technically fall behind for a week while I focus on the roots. I'm not going to have any new apples come up. You know, people might get pissed off or whatever it is, but you need to stop worshipping the fruit and start focusing on the roots. Written by Christina, not ChatGPT. The last thing I wanted to say actually on like wasting time is, I spoke about this in my recent newsletter. I know a couple of you guys replied back to the email saying you enjoyed it. I'm so glad it was helpful on, you know, why you should waste time in your 20s. I'll put the article here. You can sign up to my newsletter. Here, I'll pop a QR code on screen so you can scan it and join the newsletter. But essentially, I was talking about how I wasted a whole bunch of time the other day cooking for like 2 hours. I've downloaded this new app which has amazing recipes on it. I'm loving making a new recipe every week. Last week, I made like this curry tray bake. This week, I've made like this Greek salad thing. Like, I've been loving like making new recipes every week, but it takes so much time. And the other day, I wasted 2 hours cooking and I genuinely had so much to do. Like, my inbox was looking at me with the baddest side eye, and like, I just had so much to do, yet I wasted that 2 hours. And part of me was kind of like, I felt bad, but I also felt good about myself. Like, I wanted to cook. I wanted to make new recipes. I wanted to try this new recipe on the app. And I kind of had to realize, you know, the reason you enjoy life is because you waste time on things. The reason why you look back on memories and think so fondly of them is because you wasted that time. No one looks back on like their life and thinks, gosh, you know, that Tuesday morning on Zoom was such a good time. Like, said no one ever. All the positive memories you have, all the fun times you have is because you were like wasting time. And I know it's not a waste of time. I'm not saying it is a waste of time. I'm just saying, like, there's a part of your brain that will want you to be more productive. That's the part of your brain that sees it as a waste of time. And you always have to train yourself to be okay with wasting time, because wasting time is why you enjoy your life. But anyway, what are some things you guys are wasting time on? Let me know in the comments. Are you wasting time on crocheting? Or someone told me that they love bouldering the other week. I don't even know what bouldering is. I need to Google that one actually. But it's time for me to set off. I've just about wrapped this up in time. Shout out to me. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. Comment down below a cherry if you made it this far. You are officially part of the cherry gang. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It's honestly a super personal one to me because I struggle with this a lot, but hopefully what I shared has been really helpful. And if you're looking for something to watch next on the topic of validation, external validation, you should probably check out this video where I talk about how to break up with external validation for good.